morning everyone, it's Carol here at Collage Journals. Big warm welcome from me as always. Welcome back to my channel. And as you can see, I've got the prompts out for the 2023 Collage Weekly Planner Challenge for week 37, hosted by Margarete Miller. And there's a link in the description box below this video if the challenge is new to you or you want to find out more information. So let's get started. As always, I've got some lightweight cardstock here with a pencil border drawn all the way around, and I'm going to work inside that border. And what I've chosen for the respective prompts, the first one is a plain card either side. Well, I've got this one, and I've chosen this one because it's red and also got a heart on it. I've picked this one out because I thought I might be able to make use of the border. And this one I've picked out because it's got pinky purpley colour tones on it, quite pretty. The next prompt is a zigzag pattern. Well, I thought that I could do some zigzag machine stitching on my collage this week. The third prompt is a bell or bells. Well, I've fussy cut two images here, one pink as you can see and one blue. The reason I've gone for blue is because there's blue in my bride's bouquet down here and also a touch in the background. But I've also gone for pink because I'm not sure which direction I'm going in. If I use this little card here, the pinky purple tones will work well with those bells. So that's why I've fussy cut both. I probably won't use both, but then again I might, so we'll just have to see. So I've got those as my image for bells. A famous city. Well, I wanted to use Gretna Green because that's always associated with marriage, but when I googled it, it's not a city, it's a town. Las Vegas obviously again is associated with weddings, quick weddings in particular, so you can go there and get married the same day. So I thought this would be good to use, and now you can see perhaps why I might use this playing card if I decide to go that way, because it picks up the red from the Las Vegas on the on the playing card. And I did Google Las Vegas, and yes, it is a city, so that works. Something that reminds you of a wedding. Well, for me, a wedding just doesn't happen if there isn't a bride. So I've gone for this lovely image of a bride. Now I've printed this out just on normal copier paper, but I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use this image, which is slightly bigger, and I'm hoping that's not going to be a problem, but I've done it on photograph paper, Kodak photograph paper. Her features are a lot sharper, so that's why I wanted to use the photograph. And you can see more definition in the flowers in her bouquet, although I might well be covering that up. So I'm going to be using this image. The bone, oh, I've got this. Now this is just some wedding wrapping paper, and I might use that as my background on the piece. It might be way too fussy, but I'll see at the end after I've done my collage and I'm ready to glue it down onto my page. I'll put this down and see whether I like my collage on top. As I say, it might be too fussy and I might dispense with that idea altogether, but I've lifted it out just in case. And the final prompt is a postage stamp. So I've gone with this one. Now, originally, what I thought I could do was put a postage stamp in the middle of her bouquet, and I had a particular postage stamp in mind for that, and I went rooting all the way through my stash this morning, and I've used it. I couldn't find it, so I've obviously used it. I've lifted out this one again because of the pink purpley tones in this card. So let's get going, and obviously the first thing I need to do is trim this to size so that it fits nicely on my page. So I'm going to go away and do that. Okay, so I've got my image trimmed down, and she is just slightly wider than this original image, and I've trimmed off this white in this top right hand corner up there. So she obviously needs to go center stage on my page there because she's the biggest piece. I don't want all my playing cards showing, but I'm wondering about that. And let's see what that looks like. Well, that will work, and that actually works quite nicely. If I pull this across, then I can stagger it here and get rid of that gap there. But I'm feeling that that's encroaching on her too much there. I'd like to have this over here a little bit more, which I can do, but it leaves me a gap up there. So that works. So let's take this one out. And this is the little fairy card with the purples in it. Now, as you can see, I've chopped away borders on this one, so I've obviously used it for another project. Now that could go in there like that. It looks pretty, but I'm not liking the play against this because this is pinks and purples and this is obviously yellow, red and blue, so definitely not using that one. And let me see this one. Now this one I originally thought would be great to use because of the border, and that makes it look a little bit more grungy. Let me move it over like that. Now that works, not as well as the red one, I don't think. Let me have a look at that. Again, I think that's too close to her head. Let's turn this way around. That might be better. Oh yes, I'm liking that a lot better. Using that border like that. It is such a shame because I like the length of it coming down this left-hand side, but that is getting this away from her head, which I think is distracting. Let's have a look at the bells. So it's either that one or this one. Let's have a look at the bells. Now the reason I chose this one because of the blue in her bouquet, and I thought that I could just pop that down in there like that, and it looks like it's a continuation of her bouquet. I'm wondering if I could use, that might be nice. Let's try that. I'm just going to move that up and just try and keep it nice and soft and feminine. Maybe pull this down a little bit. Oh, I'm actually liking that, you know. I've still got to get my stamp in, so let's see if I can maybe pop it in just underneath here, or I could even put it in there. Let's have a look at that. And you know, if I move this across like that, put that up there. Now that is actually working quite nicely for me. Maybe pop that up there a little bit more. Stagger it out to one side. Okay, what's happening in my head here is that I've got this, this and this, and it's not tying in nicely, so I'm not going to go with that idea. I am liking this bouquet with the bells on down here, so let's go back to this idea here. I'm wondering if I can move that closer. Maybe use that little hint of pink up there with the stamp upside down. I know it's weird having the stamp upside down, but it's got a lovely deep border at the bottom and a little hint of pink down the left-hand side. I think that's too forced to have that there. Don't like that there. Let's go back to this idea and see. I just love this so much down here and coming off the page that I definitely want to use that. So let's commit to that bottom bit. Okay, let's have a look at this. Now I am actually liking this arrangement up here. It does seem to be a go-to of mine to go opposite corners, but I'm not going to stress about it too much today. So I'm liking that arrangement. I mean, that spoils it for me, but there's nothing I can do unless I go and find another one of these. I'm liking this. I'm going to go with this. Look at me today, decisions. So let me get some glue on here. So all my pieces are glued in place, and the only thing I need to decide now is whether to use this or not. So let's have a look at it behind and see. I think this might be overkill, so let's just put that on there like that. And do you know, I like it without, but the gold hearts on here are picking up the gold on this, and it does make it look a bit fussy, but I'm wondering actually if it works. So I've got a lot of this showing, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it to my border and see what it looks like then. So let's quickly do that. There we go, this should fit inside my border, and yes it does. And if I just put my bride on there like that. Do you know, I'm going to go with that, everybody. I know it does look a little bit fussy. Let me just lift her out so I could have my collage just like that, or like that. And I'm going to go with this. What I am going to do is I'm going to trim this down a little bit more before I glue it to my background. Just a little bit more all the way around. As you can see, I've hardly taken much off at all, but I'm wanting this background inside the border for some reason, and it actually reduces that down a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to go with that, everybody. So I'm going to glue my background down and this piece down, and then I'll come back. And this is my finished piece for this assignment, and as always I'll put some photographs at the end of the video for you to have a closer look at. So going quickly through the prompts, I most decidedly went with something that reminds you of a wedding for this one. I picked up on the word wedding in the prompts and just ran with that for as many of my prompts as I could get. And I've just realised I haven't done my zigzag stitching down here, so I will need to take that to the machine and do that in a moment. But I will finish this off by quickly going through the prompts for you. So a playing card, I've used this one up here, and I've used the border to frame my picture. A zigzag pattern, well that's what I need to go and sew in a second. Oh, crazy. Memory of a gnat here. A bell or bells, well I went with plural on that one, so I've got 2 bells down there and 2 up here, and although I was planning to use either or of these, I've ended up using both, but I hope that kind of fits in with the pretty theme of this one. A famous city, well I went with Las Vegas, and you know why. Something that reminds you of a wedding, well I have my bride, I have her wedding bells, and I have my wedding wrapping paper in the background and a postage stamp, and I've got that little one up there for no other reason than it picks up the pink, and that's it. I'm liking how, even though this wrapping paper is fussy in the background, I'm liking how the hints of gold pick up the yellow, and that's about the only reason why, other than it fits in with the theme. So thank you so much, as always, everybody, for watching. I'll do some photographs at the end, as I've already said, and you will see that I've put some zigzag stitching down there. So until the next video, everybody, take care. Bye-bye now.